Hello everyone, welcome to Veronika Hug. Today we're using Woolly Hugs Charity, so this is 75% wool, 15% polyamide, and 10% polylactid, and it's 100 meters per 50 grams, that's in each spool. Today I'll be using a needle size 3 millimeters, so if you take a look at the label, you're going to see that the recommended size is 3.5 to 4.5, but since I work pretty loosely, I'm gonna use the 3 millimeter one to make sure that I have the right tightness. And today you're gonna learn how you can do house shoes all on your own at home. So I started here with 45 stitches and I have 26 ribs here times 2, that's 52 rows that I did. So this section I did in the garter stitch. And then starts this little section with a little bit different style. And I'm gonna start with one front row. So that's basically what starts each new rib. So you can see those here. So let's get started. I'm going to transfer the edge stitch from my left needle onto my right. Then we do one purl stitch and 2 knit stitches, and we keep changing that. So 1 purl stitch, 2 knit stitches, and keep repeating that pattern. So we did 45 stitches for this entire project, so this way it's really easy to work with these because 45 divided by 3 is 15. So it means that you basically repeat 1 purl stitch, 2 knit stitches 15 times per row. Or actually, since we start with the extra purl and the edge stitch, you repeat it 14 times. So you can see here that I'm working 2 knit stitches, then 1 purl stitch, and then I do the edge stitch here. So that means that we have an extra purl stitch, which means 14 times the 3 stitches, and then the beginning and the end are always that way, always the same way. So we're again transferring the edge stitch. Now we do the knit stitch first, and then we do 2 purl stitches, 1 knit stitch. So in the back row it's reverse, which means that we do 1 knit stitch, 2 purl stitches, and we keep repeating that again. So we have 24.5 centimeters in length now. So here the 12 centimeters is just this first garter stitch section, and then 12.5 centimeters is now the section that I just did with you. And now we can start with the reductions. So transfer the edge stitch as always, and then we're going to do the first stitch after that purlwise. Then we're going to do the 2 knit stitches together knitwise. Then 1 purl stitch we do as always, and then we do another double knit stitch, or we do 2 knit stitches as 1. So this is actually going to be the tip of your foot, so that's the section we're doing right now. So since we should have a little bit of a narrower section there, that's why I do the reductions here. And then we end with a purl stitch and with the edge stitch. In this back row, we're going to transfer the edge stitch and then do one knit stitch, one purl stitch. So you can see that with each stitch you get faster, and that means that this isn't such a long project after all. So now we're again going to reduce some stitches, so we transfer the edge stitch, and then we do right after the edge stitch 2 stitches together knitwise, and then we keep doing 2 by 2, so this time we're not skipping any. And this way we make sure that this little section of the rib continues the exact same way as it should. And now the edge stitch I'm also going to do with the purl stitch together, also knitwise. So I have, let's see, 12, 14, so 14 stitches total, and now we can shorten this thread. We don't need any more yarn, so I'm going to take a darning needle. These are really nifty for ending projects and for weaving in. So now I'm basically going to transfer all of these stitches onto the darning needle and therefore the thread itself. When you do that, you basically pull so that all of the stitches come together, and then we're going to do that one more time. So I want to go through each and every stitch 2 times total. And that's going to be the tip, so where your toes go. And then you can see what we have for now. So after the edge stitch, we did the purl stitch, and you can see it right here. So let me see here at the tip, so where we did the first purl stitch. So we go through there with our darning needle and our thread, and the same thing then on the other side. So we're slowly connecting the stitches. So now we go row by row until we connect all of the stitches in this section. So I'm basically going through the section of each purl stitch that I started with. And as you can see, I'm not pulling on the thread after each stitch, so you can basically do that after a couple and then it's all gonna come together. And then you can continue. So when I do about 8 to 10 stitches, that's when I pull. That way it's quicker and it also has a satisfying moment of seeing everything come together. So now that we did a couple more, we can pull. And you see how nice it looks. So I'm going to show you the tip. You can see that it really makes the entire section pop and it just keeps the structure as it is. So by checking after every 8 to 10 stitches, you make sure that everything's looking nice and neat and just the way you want it. Also, I highly recommend that you do this section carefully and that you try to really do each and every stitch one after the other, because it's definitely going to yield a precise and neat and really beautiful result. So if you skip stitches, you're going to be able to see them later, and that's not something that we want. So this is what I have. I just have one more purl stitch to go through and then we're going to be completely done. So in order to keep everything in its place, I'm going to go through this stitch twice and then I'm going to weave in on the inside so that it's not visible, and I'm going to do a couple of knots here just to make sure everything stays in place. Now we can cut it off, we don't need that much length. And now you can see how she looks like. So this is what it would look like if you wore it. Of course, you can try it on and check for yourself. So now all that we have to do is repeat the same thing here on the back so that our shoe is not only connected in the front but also in the back, so where your heel is. So I'm gonna do these stitches 2, and I'm basically gonna go through the outer half of each stitch. So on the left and the right side, you have a stitch that kind of forms a V on top, and I just want to go through the outer halves of those two V's. I'm going to show you so that you can do the same thing, but it's going to be really easy. And also here, make sure you go through each and every stitch. It's going to help yield a neat result, something that you really like in the end and that doesn't have any holes or anything weird going on. And that's going to be our last step for our project today. So this way you get a really beautiful stitch at the end, something that's not visible at all, so it seems like you did this all in just one flowing process. So this is the basic model. If you just want to try it out and see if you succeed, I think you can get great results even if you have just a little bit of experience and if you're new to the knitting world. So let me just weave this in really quick and then we'll be completely done. And we're done. So here are both, just so you can see they look exactly the same and they're really easy to do. So if you guys enjoyed, feel free to check more videos out. You can find them on my channel, you can subscribe to my channel, shoot a thumbs up and make sure to click on the notification bell. I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye!